Nigeria's Southeast has a problem that has existed for decades, but it's now becoming impossible to ignore. Its best minds are leaving, but not because they don't want to stay, but because the system gives them very little reason to remain. And this is not just a feeling, it shows up in movement patterns, in migration flows, and in where opportunities concentrated. Young graduates, builders, entrepreneurs, tech talents, a steady transfer of human capital from one region to another. And this series is on how we can change that. The Southeast is not a weak region. It has the highest literacy rate in Nigeria, a deeply entrepreneurial culture, and strong commercial hubs like Aba, Onitsha, and Nnewi. But despite these strengths, one issue persists: scale. Most of Nigeria's largest companies, financial institutions, and tech ecosystems are concentrated in Lagos. From manufacturing to startups, the same pattern repeats, concentrated in the southwest. What this suggests is not a lack of talent, but a lack of ecosystem structure in the southeast. Before the Civil War, the eastern region was one of the most economically dynamic areas in Africa. In fact, the fastest growing economy in the world at one point. Enugu powered industrial activity through coal mining. Aba was already developing manufacturing and textile clusters. Port Harcourt served as a key export gateway. But the restraint wasn't just resources, it was people. By the 1960s, the East had one of the highest literacy rates in Nigeria. Institutions like the University of Nigeria and Nsukka were producing engineers, thinkers, and builders. And beyond formal education, there was a system already shaping economic life: the apprenticeship system, a structured path where young people were trained, integrated into trade networks, and launched into entrepreneurship. This created dense networks of small and medium scale enterprises across the region. But talent, trade, and entrepreneurship is only the first stage of development. For economies to scale, three things must align: capital concentration, industrial clustering, institutional support. When these come together, small businesses evolve into large industries. But in the Southeast, this is never fully consolidated after disruption. And over time, something subtle happened. The region kept producing talent, but stopped retaining and scaling it. And while the South is fragmented, Lagos evolved into something different. Not just a city, but a system where capital is concentrated, industries cluster, logistics connects everything, and opportunity multiplies. The Lagos-Ogun Industrial Corridor now hosts the largest concentration of manufacturing and multinational production in Nigeria. Companies like Dangote, Nestle, Unilever, Lafarge, and Nigerian breweries operate within tightly connected industrial networks. In tech, the same pattern exists: Flutterwave, Paystack, OPay, Moneypoint. Almost all major startups are headquartered in Lagos, not by accident, but because the ecosystem supports scale. Now, compare that to the Southeast: Aba, Nnewi, Onitsha. Highly productive, deeply entrepreneurial, but fragmented. Thousands of small businesses operating in isolation. No strong industrial clustering, no deep capital concentration, no integrated scaling system. So instead of one connected engine, you have scattered efforts. And scattered efforts does not scale. But before any solution, one question matters: what is the Southeast's real leverage? First, people. Highly educated, adaptable, mobile, entrepreneurial. Second, diaspora network. A global economic footprint stretching across Nigeria and the world, embedded in trade, tech, and commerce. Third, apprenticeship systems. A built-in entrepreneurship pipeline that already produces business owners at scale. Fourth, natural and strategic resources. And finally, geography. Position near ports and major regional and continental trade corridors. So the problem is not the absence of assets, it's the absence of coordination. So how do you fix this? Not by waiting for the government, but by organizing what already exists. And it begins with something more powerful than policy: a coordinated economic movement. A movement that mobilizes people not for protest, but for building. A movement that pulls capital across the region and diaspora, funds infrastructure collectively, build logistics corridors like Aba to Onitsha to Nnewi to Enugu, develops industrial clusters, and supports local manufacturing at scale. From logistics to industry to finance, everything becomes interconnected. And once the system forms, scale becomes automatic. And the South has proven to be able to do that, although politically with agitation movements. But this time, it can make it economic. This movement can galvanize support and capital, working with the various state governments and the Southeast Development Commission in establishing financial pipelines like investment banks, regional stock market, fundings through PPP arrangements for infrastructure like ports, railway, power plants, industrial scaling without waiting for foreign investment. And just like the Jews in the state of Israel, the Igbo diaspora can actually lead investment charge in the East. So when you step back, the pattern is clear. The Southeast is not lacking in people, it's not lacking in talent, it's not lacking in ambition, it's lacking a system that can connect all into a scale. Lagos built that system. The Southeast has not yet. But that can change. And this series is about how. If this resonates with you, engage with this video, like, share, subscribe, because the next episode will break down exactly how this system can be built step by step. And if this conversation is going to grow into something real, it starts with people willing to stay engaged. The Southeast does not need to be reinvented, it needs to be reconnected. And that work is just beginning.